The threat of conflict looms in Eastern Europe with more than 100,000 Russian troops amassed along the border with Ukraine. The threat of conflict looms in Eastern Europe with more than 100,000 Russian troops amassed along the border with Ukraine. The U.S. military said on Monday it has put up to 8,500 troops on alert, ready to deploy to Eastern Europe potentially at very short notice should NATO activate a rapid response force. Following last week's high-stakes talks between U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken and Russian Minister of Foreign Affairs Sergei Lavrov, Washington is expected to give a written reply to Russian security demands this week. Russia denies planning an attack, but this has done little to ease fears. Precautionary measures are being taken as some UK and US embassy staff are being withdrawn from Ukraine. At least the latest events on the ground. Russia and Ukraine at a glance. Russia and Ukraine are the two largest countries in Europe. The neighbors were part of the 15 Soviet republics that made up the USSR. Following the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991, Ukraine became an independent country and distanced itself from Russia. In March 2014, following months of anti-government protests in Ukraine that saw a Kremlin-friendly leader removed from power, Russia invaded and annexed the Crimean Peninsula. A month later, pro-Russian separatists began capturing territory from the Donetsk and Luhansk regions of eastern Ukraine. The ongoing fighting there has killed more than 14,000 people, according to Kiev, and displaced millions. Timeline from Crimea to now. The graphic below highlights some key milestones since Russia annexed Crimea from Ukraine in 2014. Where are Russian troops stationed? There are now an estimated 100,000 troops stationed along the Ukraine border with an estimated 20,000 troops stationed near Donetsk and Luhansk provinces. In addition, military drills between Russian and Belarusian troops are expected to begin in the coming weeks as part of Allied Resolve exercises. Russia has already sent military forces and 2 battalions of S-400 surface-to-air missiles to Belarus. Deputy Russian Defense Minister Alexander Fomin told the Interfax news agency, the goal of the exercise is to fine-tune the tasks of suppressing and repelling external aggression during a defensive operation, countering terrorism and protecting the interests of the Union state. Possible invasion paths. Diplomatic talks have reached a stalemate. If diplomacy fails to ease the current impasse, Western powers fear that Russia could invade Ukraine at any time. According to analysis by the Center for Strategic Studies, CSIS, Russia may advance by 3 possible routes depending on the Kremlin's aim. Northern route. Russian forces could make advances towards Kiev from the north, and if Belarus is amenable to the use of its road and rail systems, Russian troops could proceed into Ukraine from Mazir, Belarus. Central route. Russia can also send troops from the Donetsk Republic towards Zaporizhzhia and Dnipro to expand its boundaries westward. Southern route. If Russia seeks to secure freshwater supply for Crimea and block Ukraine's access to the sea, it could make an advance from the south towards Kherson while armed forces advance towards Melitopol to meet with troops along the coast of the Sea of Azov. Russia may wish to create a land bridge to Crimea which would involve seizing the port of Mariupol. Putin and NATO's eastward expansion. NATO is the world's most powerful military alliance comprising 30 members and a budget of €1.56 billion. At it to curb Soviet expansion. Russia opposes NATO bases near its borders and has asked for written guarantees that NATO will not expand eastward. One of the Kremlin's central demands is that Ukraine never be allowed to join NATO, a move it considers a red line. Ukraine has expressed interest in joining NATO, and in September 2020, Zelensky approved a security strategy which laid foundations for a partnership with NATO with the ambition of membership.